Hey Aquarius, this is Seven Scorpion Tarot, and I want to welcome you to tonight's reading. So, tonight we are on the next stage of the hero's journey, which is the call to adventure. And good timing, too, being in Aquarius season right now. Um, so, I've got a couple things I wanted to talk about in regards to the call to adventure and kind of how I feel that fits in right now. But this is going to be another significator reading, so I already have the star card out because we're on that major arcana uh, series for this. Later on, I'm going to do a minor arcana series too. But for the call to adventure, like the classic example is Luke Skywalker and R2D2 and getting the uh, message from Leia, the hologram, that he's her only hope. And that kind of rallies him to start the story we all know and love, right? uh, it's not quite the same, for us as individuals in the non Star Wars land. Uh, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. There's a lot going on here in the States right now. Um, just a lot. And one of the things that had come to mind for me for a call to adventure actually was this like faux feminist archetype. Um, like I had seen not all too long ago all the Blake Lively stuff about her lawsuit with uh the other guy that I actually had never really heard of him before this happened. But I guess he had or has, I'm not sure. I haven't given it any clicks. His content, I'm just paying attention. I've taken a side, I've taken her side. But he's got this like podcast that's like pro feminist or whatnot. And in the background, she's got all this evidence of being sexually harassed. And so he's got that persona, that mask up front of the faux feminist or of the feminist, and in the background, really not not an awesome guy. Uh, and it really makes me sick to my stomach that there's this expectation of women that we're just supposed to like grin and bear it in the workplace. Uh, and like her filing that lawsuit, she's automatically the bad guy. Like as soon as you speak up, you're a villain. It doesn't matter how much evidence she has. It doesn't matter. Uh, so speak up anyway. That's the call to adventure. It doesn't matter how much evidence she has. They're going to villainize her anyway. Speak up anyway. Do it. That is I think, the rally of the Aquarian archetype of the humanitarian, of the like the independence, the intellect, because she had to really like manage not only just doing the job but documenting everything that was going on in the background while being postpartum. Just remarkable level of resilience. And it just like the phrase that came to mind was not all men, but almost always a man. Like when I see an example of a woman doing this to other women, other men, trans folks, non-binary, whomever, I'll be mad at them too. I don't care. But it's almost always a man. And that is really a huge call to adventure right now, of speaking up and speaking out. Like I know I'm doing it under a stage name, you know, but I don't have the same level of resources that Blake Lively does. Uh, I wouldn't be able to defend myself in the same way that she could. That doesn't mean my voice needs to be silenced. I can still utilize my voice while protecting my identity, while protecting my best interests. Uh, and really, what I'm just trying to use my voice as is a platform to get other people to use their voices as well. Like, just you can do it too, because like this is not related to my day job in any way. It's really quite the contrast, actually. Uh, and I just kind of started doing this one day. I just set up this like it's like an L mount that I've got attached to my coffee table with a C clamp for my phone. I'm doing this on my phone, like with equipment I essentially already had. Like the initial investment was like $100 for the mount, and it's got like a ring light attached to it and a little 2-pack of microphones, like the little lapel microphones. Um, and I just started yapping. Like it was definitely more awkward at the beginning, a lot more ums at the beginning. I'm a vocal filler type person just because I've got brain stuff, and it's improved quite a bit. Like my speech pattern has improved quite a bit since I've been doing this, since I've been exercising that part of my brain, because I feel very self conscious about it, in the workplace and whatnot. Of do I really need to disclose my medical history to just get a moment of pause, like the same amount of pause a comma would get to like finish my sentence? Like, no. Uh, and this has helped me develop more confidence in speaking, and more confidence also in standing on business when there's a conflict in the workplace. uh, there was several readings ago that I had mentioned, I flew off the handle right before I went on vacation, like didn't quite make it to the finish line. And that vacation is just what I needed to like tune in the assertiveness, because I don't want to fly off the handle at work. Like I don't want to create that kind of workplace for my teammates and whatnot. But also, and I get sick of being treated like a doormat. Like, yes, it's my responsibility to stand up for myself. It's also your responsibility to act right. Like, mm, I digress. But that's the call to adventure, and very Aquarian. So that is like how I've rotated the zodiac wheel with Christopher Vogler. Where's the book? This one with the writer's journey to match the 12 stages of this with the 12 signs of the zodiac, and to rotate that. Um, and not, it didn't work starting with Aries. So, um, but the call to adventure fits Aquarius quite well with that humanitarian aspect. So we'll do that more involved self, shadow, and ego. So it'll be the root of self, that root of the significator, and then the personal unconscious, the in the shadow, and the collective unconscious, the ego, and the persona. I've actually been having quite a bit of fun with this, matching up the major arcana and the minor arcana uh, with those stages of the hero's journey. And I'm eyeballing yet another book, believe it or not. The heroine's journey seems like it focuses more on the woman's walk through uh just through that, like through the stages and whatnot, and the challenges that might be more unique to our persuasion. Queen of Pentacles in reverse in the self. So turning your relationship with the material realm on its head. Because there's a butterfly here. So that says transformation to me. And sometimes like I'll read reversals as like blocked energy, but this just feels more like, since it's the star, and the star is what follows the tower in order of the major arcana, this is more of a transformative. And maybe the starting of a journey, because there's a white rabbit, so like follow the white rabbit. So you're starting something new in regards to your relationship to the material realm. Maybe it's your perception of coin. Um, Maybe branching out to more like entrepreneurial, it's a hard word for my mouth, entrepreneurial pursuits, for like additional streams of income. It could be that. Just like maybe a non-traditional approach to income. Because a rat race can get tiring. Like, it just seems like economies are designed to grow, but wages are not. And the only way to break out of that cycle, break out of that pattern, uh, would be to hustle, like side hustle, work for yourself. Um, Probably going to take quite a bit of time to steer the ship over towards like self-employment. You want to plan. And what do they say, like diversify the portfolio, like stuff like that. I'll start shuffling for the shadow side. uh but seeing as the star card follows the tower, maybe you're reflecting on past experiences with finances, like if you've ever been laid off, you've ever lost a job or had some sort of major financial catastrophe, like changing your approach, your perception of those things. I don't know, because there's a lot of temptation right now with how dystopian things are, uh here in the States, that just like, why bother with paying my debts? Like, and the audacity of a country with trillions of dollars of debt to give me a credit score. Like, I don't know. Nine of Wands in reverse would be in the personal unconscious. So the wounded warrior, but this has a much like more warmer vibe than the Rider Waite. I don't know if it's just like the color scheme. And like the sun is peeking out through the clouds, and I see some feathers here down at the bottom, in the wounded warrior. So maybe somebody got bopped with that that last wand, and they skedaddled away. and it's reversed in the shadow. So maybe the wounded warrior is not so wounded anymore and a lot more warrior. And that kind of fits what I was talking about earlier of like me flying off the handle before vacation, and then me like being more kind of where I want to be um in regards to like standing on business, say it from your chest after vacation while maintaining a professional working environment, you know? Uh and there for me there's a lot of shadow in that because I grew up in a household where the way to get what you want was intimidation. Um Fear, like intimidation, fear, uh threats, like frequently having like just unusual punishments like my door being taken away, uh my car being taken away unless I need to labor. If I needed to labor, I had transportation. Like, come on. What? Oh my God. Just the nonsense. Start shuffling for the collective unconscious. See what underlying themes might be driving this. But yeah, unusual punishments. Like if I wasn't getting good grades at home, my car would be taken away unless I needed to go to work. Like, or if I had done something to displease the parental figure in question, uh, no car unless I needed to labor. So I only have access to transportation if the man of the house is happy. That's a gross message to send a teenage child. Like, what? Gross. Not okay. That, no. We'll limit your escape if you don't behave. This is why I feel like uh I got out of a cult. Like it just really bizarre stuff that like the more I talk about it, the more like glaringly abnormal my past becomes, which I'm pretty sure is why people don't want me talking about it. Like so I'm going to jibber jabber away. Because if they don't want you talking about it, that's a good signal that you should be talking about it. And I bet there's a lot of that going on right now in the collective, uh, with this is one of those perception and perspective things that like this is really hard to put the shoe on the other foot because I have a lot of disdain um for ICE agents and what they're doing. And like are they trying to get other jobs? Like what are they doing to like step out of these roles, Like are they refusing orders? Are they like doing something to purposefully blunder some sort of raid? I don't know. Like they're in a position I would never want to be in. Um like and do you want to be on the side of history that followed the rules right now? Like I don't know. It's so freaking complicated. Like nuance is nefarious. Uh cuz all this stuff with the new administration is happening so fast. Like if I not that I would ever apply for that job, but if I did And then all of a sudden things changed overnight and I had a family to provide for. I'd be in that impossible situation and like an impossible ethical dilemma. Uh, because you're in a lose-lose situation in that. And it's all the guy at the top's fault. His responsibility, and all of us plebs, everybody at the bottom of the pyramid, we're the ones like paying the cost. Like, I mean, I'm empathizing with the people paying the cost. Like, it's not me. I'm aggressively white. Um, this happened to my people like a little less than 200 years ago. You know, no Irish need apply. When it was the Irish farmers that were being treated the way that people from Mexico and Venezuela, and who cares where they're from? Like, oh my God. Soapbox. Page of Cups in the collective unconscious. So a message, and Page is a student. Hmm. Hi, Kitten. Good morning. Did you hear me ranting? Can you come check on me? Thank you. Page of Cups. Well, and actually, the imagery is apropos for the rant, because Mars is retrograding through Cancer right now, and I have Chiron in Cancer, so that might be where some of that heat's coming from. Uh, but it's interesting. So the crow on this cup is like, the fish is supposed to be like the surprise or the gift in the cup, like it's the message, and the crow's like looking right past it. So is it like, are we just collectively turning a blind eye? I think so. And I think we should be judged harshly for it. Uh, and specifically, given my paradigm, by the Morrigan. Um, I don't ask for forgiveness, I ask for judgment because I stand behind the things I do and what was in my heart when I did them. And us at the bottom of the pyramid, we, on an individual level, are limited in what we can do. It goes back to what I was saying about like me concealing my identity, but still being able to use my voice. Like it, we have to operate within what's like what we're able to do, what's within our capacity to do. Because I would love to take on the world about this, but I have bills, I have a life to live, and I have to continue doing that. Kitten, these are mine. It's not for you. I'm so sorry. I lost my train of thought. She was very cute just now, off camera, unfortunately. But like, I can't do everything. Like the same is true for less extreme circumstances. It's sort of the same methodology for managing my battery in terms of chronic illness. Like I have to, if I know I have something highly taxing to do in 2 days, I might be taking on less in the days ahead of that. You know, like you have to just manage your resources which includes your energy, that includes your battery. You have to manage them wisely. And your altruism is a resource. You can get burnt out on both ends of that. Like there's a empathy burnout, uh, and that empathy is the weapon to wield right now. Because there are people going through really horrific things that this should have never happened. But I'm going to start shuffling for the ego. And it's just an absolute travesty. And I have unsubscribed from nearly everything news related, and even still, I got a notification on my phone from BuzzFeed about the plane crash thing today. And that's supposed to be like BuzzFeed is supposed to be for like what kind of potato I am. Like it's not supposed to be for like super serious stuff like that. Like I was not prepared for that notification in that moment. Um and it's the deadliest aviation incident since 9/11. And I'm finding it remarkably hard to live with PTSD under these conditions. Like cope with. I think that would be a better way to phrase that. Uh like it's really hard to have that right now. It's always hard to have that, but right now it's got a little extra spice. Just because everything, like, just within how long has it been since the inauguration? Like, I just feel inundated with dystopia. I don't know, man. The Hermit. Yeah. Stay inside. Don't talk to anyone. Talk to people. uh, but interesting, though, that the crow has the lantern in the mouth, but then there's another star off to the side because the star here is, I think it's been referred to as like the star is what's in the lantern for the hermit. So very synchronous. Um, so maybe in that ego space of the psyche, there's a lot of introspection happening. And that would make sense right now. You know, we're about to come up on in bulk. It's the time when the Caliac and Brigid meet, you know, and it's the midway point between winter and spring. It's a hermity time. Uh, and with such a drastic change with everything in this country right now, maybe it's not a bad idea to have a do nothing weekend. Watch a movie, like have a movie trilogy marathon, you know, make a thing of it. Do a Barbenheimer. When I think it was last year or whenever that was like a the thing, uh, there was like a blizzard, and I did herbally infused gummy, Oppenheimer, lunch, herbally infused gummy, Barbie. That was the correct order, and I was super into Oppenheimer, like really into it. It was a good movie. Uh, maybe something like that is in order for you, or like a reading marathon. Like pick a book. I'm gonna say fiction. I'm gonna say fiction just in the interest of everything that's going on. A little bit of escapism, kind of engage that 12th house a little bit. Uh, and you know, maybe read a book over the weekend. Like that's the goal. Just start to finish. Chill out from the social medias. Pick something like thrillers are great for me if, you know, I want to just check out because they have that like fast-paced writing style. And that's something you could definitely do in a weekend because it's got the just the pacing to really keep you engaged. So just a couple ideas. I'll start shuffling for the persona. Hi, Kizen. Are you going to join us? I see you thinking about it. Yeah. What are you doing? She's just so gingerly, just like she is the star. That's why she's here. This is redacted. She is in witness protection for incidents that shall not be named. Right? Are you a criminal? She's a very good emotional support animal. I get plenty of head bonks when I need them. The Queen of Cups in the persona. Did we have another queen? We did. Queen of Pentacles in the self. So Queen of Cups reversed. And lots of stars in the background imagery of the other cards. Like these are starfish, but a lot of that, a lot of repeating imagery. And the kind of looks like the fish from the Page of Cups. And the crab too. So I want to see what the book says about the reverse. What you doing, kitten? That's why am I looking at the 8? What am I doing? So the reversed Queen of Cups is someone who is trapped by her feelings. She has learned to suppress her feelings so as not to become too emotional. As a result, she may feel disconnected, which is like the literal opposite of what I was doing. I was ranting, I think. It's weird how like I can't remember like just moments ago when I'm doing this like what I was talking about. Um but I don't feel particularly restrained. Maybe you do. Uh maybe that's what the call to adventure is to get this in the upright in the persona uh to let people see the emotions in a controlled way of like not a suppressed way but like a I'll call on them if I need them. Like how do I put this? Give me a second. The first person I ever reported to in my career field, uh they're an army vet, and the most one of the most even keeled people I've ever met. Absolutely not someone I would cross. Because if there would be some like lively spirited discussion or like a disagreement between like technology experts or whatever, um like he would just suddenly appear. He wouldn't really say much. Like his responses would be kind of limited to, like, if it wasn't work related, it would be like, it's a free country. And then he'd just go back to drinking his coffee, but he also wouldn't leave. Like, you just kind of loom. And then, like, just his presence would bring the room down, and then everybody would disperse without him saying a word. Like, that's commanding respect. And so maybe that is like the exercise here is finding examples like what you would think of as someone to model off of as commanding respect, because you got to have like an example to look up to like kind of figure it out. Like, if you didn't have that in your life growing up, you need a means of sorting that out. And like movies and TV are a great way to do that. Um, and I'm trying to think, like, military folks are generally portrayed as like a little bit more volatile than that. But like whatever example comes to your mind of like someone who just has that, like, their presence brings the room down, like not in a negative way, but in like a calming it down, like a balm in a way. Okay, kitten. Um, I kind of need the table. I know you're a cat and you're in charge, but can we come in? Trying to get cats to do things is very different than trying to get dogs to do things. Cats, it's a suggestion. Let's get Crow. Maybe for some underlying energy. This reading has been ranty. Maybe you guys need to rant too. And like, start your own channel. Start your own uh platform, like whatever's respective to you. You know, I spend a lot of time by myself, and that's that is how I prefer it. And but also, and it mental busyness still builds up, even though I am like, on in terms of the introvert scale, there's like monks who have taken a vow of silence, and then there's me. Like, I like my me time to a pretty significant degree. Especially like right now with stuff that's going on. Preparation. I've been hearing about a lot of people uh doing that right now, doing like preppy type stuff. If you are really concerned, I'd say at a minimum, get your FEMA recommendations like up to date, have the 3 days of supplies. Uh, I live in an apartment, and I'm not going to be able to stock up like a year's worth of stuff here. I try to like 3, 5 days. I generally don't go out further than that, but living in a place where it snows a lot, um, I typically have enough supplies to not go to the store for a bit. But that could be on your mind right now with like, ooh, everything is chaotic. Like, things are happening. Things feel like they might be happening. I'm super anxious. Puzzle games. Uh, Something that really helped me during the pandemic when it first started was the game Frostpunk. Uh, it's like a infrastructure type game, and it's like resource management. Um, and it's like a post-apocalyptic winter, and you're leading the last settlement of humanity, and you're building a settlement around this big generator like the size of a skyscraper, and it's really involved, and you can either rule by like rule of law or by way of the church. It's super interesting, and I got way sucked into it. And so something like that, like a puzzle game or whatever, would probably be a good way to exercise some of that like anxious mental energy, like just give you a way to check out. Because back to the earlier example of like a movie marathon weekend, I have a difficult time concentrating on movies sometimes. So, well, I have a difficult time concentrating on most like anything sometimes. It just kind of depends on the day. Uh, but video games are interactive. So if you're struggling to concentrate, like maybe something more interactive, I find that helpful. Or knitting or cross stitching and listening to an audiobook. That is a pretty winning combination. Uh, because I don't do very complicated cross stitches. Like I get the little pre-made kits that are like for kids, like the easy ones. Uh, so I can just kind of zone out and then listen to a book. Because then I would have to like concentrate it on it if it was like harder. Don't want to do that. Uh, Canards, that's a good segue for creative endeavors. Like another thing that I little cheapo craft that I have in my box that I haven't tried yet. It's a diamond painting. They're like little, like shiny little diamonds, and you stick them on. It's like a paint by numbers. Um, so I keep all sorts of like little easy stuff like that around. Because like when I get triggered and I need to bring the nervous system down, like little art therapy projects like that. Um, or activities. It's not really a project. Like I set it down for however long and I come back to it and I'm like, what was I doing? But Kanaz is the creative flame and really synchronous timing with In Bulk this weekend. Um, because Brigid, she is the goddess of the sacred flame and poetry. Um, and if you're not a poet, that you don't necessarily have to do that. If you want to do something specific to In Bulk, it's like whatever craft or art is what you like, what you enjoy, something you want to try. Because if you try it and you're terrible at it, that's how you get started. Like I didn't talk like I'm talking right now when I started this channel in September. And even though I only have like I think 13 subscribers or something on YouTube, and then TikTok it's like 20, and I think I've got like 10 on Instagram. I started with one. That's a lot of growth in 3 months. Uh, that's actually like exponential growth in 3 months, you know? And once you get the wheels turning, like they'll continue to grow, like get traction. Like it might take some time. Uh, but it's been really helpful for me in like other ways of like beyond gaining a subscriber count in helping me find my voice and helping me be more confident, things like that. And that's what Kanaz is about. Uh, in the interpretation, it says the opening, the mystery of regeneration through death. It is the rune of the artist, the craftsman, and the magician. So some alchemical. vibes there. And since we were talking about movies and stuff, see if we can get a card, some ideas. And another benefit too of having a space to vent like this um, is it gives me just a bucket to like if something's on my mind at work or whatever, I know I've got somewhere to put it later, you know? Helpful. My own little like talk therapy. Like I go to an actual therapist once a week, but this also helps. Just yapping. And one of the things her and I were just talking about were the differences between these two little decks that I had made. Oh, hey! How synchronous. Frostpunk. We were just talking about this. It's like I'm psychic or something. uh, I love making that joke, and I hate myself for it. Um, so there's here's your sign. But the kind of emphasis that I put behind these two decks is like the pillars on the two that was going to come out weird. The pillars on the High Priestess card. There we go. Um, but in like TVs and books and movies and whatnot, the ego is distilled. It's really concentrated. So it's going in the white cards, and then songs are in the black cards because it can pull out like those emotions from the shadow. And there's also like activities mixed in there. Um, because like rumination is a thing. I am totally bad about that. Well, I'm actually really good at it, which is why I need ideas for activities. And there's a second Frostpunk now. Um, I don't know. It might only be on PC. I don't know if it's on console yet. But we've got for some songs, "The Sin in the Sentence" by Trivium and "Down to the Bottom" by Dorothy. That's a nice like kind of bluesy rock. Really like that. And "The Sin in the Sentence," this is the title song on this album, and this is actually my like PTSD album. Like I have several that I would put under that category, but this is like the first one that the song "Endless Night," it clicked for me. That was like, oh, this is what they're talking about, like in regards to music kind of being a catharsis for really difficult feelings and like going through that like transmutation process of like making the feelings match words. And I didn't even know that I was going to need this album that I'd been listening to for however long at the right moment. So, but overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates. And if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.